Hello and welcome to Bridging the Nations. Look, I'm excited. Look, I done told the enemy this means war. We are going to talk today about believing in yourself and trusting and believing that God in you and believing that everything works out for your good. That's what we're going to do.
Believe that.
So we thank you guys for joining us today. We're missing one of our folks out of the triad, but even through that, we know that she's with us in spirit. So we are just going to continue to move because God is with us as we speak. So we want to thank you guys for joining. Now, make sure as you're coming in the room, as you're joining in the room, make sure you tag someone, you share the post to every page or group or even platform you're associated with, because this is something you don't want to miss out on, and you don't want to keep all the good news to yourself, right? You want to share this good news, because when I tell you this is going to be some serious stuff today. We're going to have some interaction, but we're going to also give you truth because it comes from the word of God. So, we definitely know it's something that is true that we can fall back on, and that can definitely help direct us in the right direction. I am Shamika Willis, also known as a Lady Queen I Am, and I'm a Kingdom Principle Coach, just here to help you live the best life that God intended for you to live. And next, you'll hear from my brother King Anthony Williams. Introduce yourself, bro.
I am the bread breaker, motivator, speaker, trainer, coach. I am your boy. If you're trying to realize your human capital, so you were born with something special on the inside of you. If you're trying to realize that and you're trying to get everything out of that's been deposited on you and you're looking for a return, get at your boy, get at the triad. Because today, man, we're going to talk about some real stuff that's going to change your life forever.
Forever. Look, and as you guys are coming in, we want to thank you guys so much for joining us. I want to make sure that we share it to every place, every platform, because look, this is going to be some good stuff, right? This is going to be some good information, and we want y'all to be a part of this. We want to make sure that you share this information because, like I said, it's not only true biblical word, but it's something that can actually help transform your life, change your life forever. And it's taking kingdom principles and showing you how to apply it to your life so that you can live your best life. It doesn't happen overnight. No, it doesn't. But you know what? Every day is beautiful. Every day in the journey is beautiful, and it's successful every day. So that's exactly what we want you to do. So, Brother King, if you want to, you could kick it off with some music as y'all give us 30 seconds to share to all these platforms and to all the pages, making sure we tagging everybody. So Brother King, DJ, put on some music, DJ.
Let's turn up. We can't do it without a party. Got that joy that we can't explain. As you come on, man, let us know who's out there. Give us a shout out. When another God wants to take your place, as much of you as I can say, give me that, give me that, give me that.
About 20 more seconds,
you want the show to end. Get the actors off stage.
Yeah,
let the real coaches in.
Yeah. Come on in the room. Come on in the room.
Hey, out there, mama.
Y'all come on in the room.
No more miracle water. Everybody got a title, but do they know? Come on, y'all. Hey, we're about to start a revolution. Like I'm telling you, if you're looking for your life to be different, or you're looking to be in a different place, man, you got to get new information. That's why you have to mark Thursday nights on your calendar. You have to get new information in order to get to that place.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's begin. I done tagged a few people. I done posted, to a few pages. Let's begin, because we see the hungry are coming, as my brother King say. The hungry are coming in the room, bro. They're coming in the room and they're ready to eat. Today, as I told you, you see our topic, and I know a lot of us have felt this way, because I felt this way recently, where I had to seriously get my mind back in check. where you're asking yourself, you know what, I've come this far, and I believed in myself so much in the beginning, but if I feel like I'm kind of stuck, or I feel like, maybe this is just the level, but in the beginning, I believed God was going to take me higher, but maybe this is just the level that, that I'm meant to be at. And so I don't know. I know I felt that way. Have you felt that way before, Brother King?
Yes, I've been there before. Anybody that's ever tried to do the thing above and beyond what they could comprehend in mind has been to that same place. And
Yeah.
it's at that place. Go ahead, Lady Queen.
No, definitely. Like you said, is that when I tell you anything that we start, look, let me tell you something. It's the big stuff, the big idea, like the big thing, that there won't be a big thing that you do in order to get to that level. It's all the small little things that add up, to get to that level. And what I saw is even because I had gotten a place where I was like Elijah. Elijah went in the cave after a while. Like Elijah had did so much powerful stuff, right? He had called fire down from heaven. He had killed so many of the fake prophets. Like he had did some powerful stuff. But then it took a woman to say, you know what? I'm about to get you, and he like, wait, and she's like, you know what? I promise you before the day, like I'm about to get you. And Elijah took off running the opposite way. Like he took off running, and he had a little minute where he had a pity party. And he was like, God, I'm the only one left. And God was like, Elijah, like what? Like get out of this. Like you are not the only one left. Like I need, basically do what you do, what I've called you to do, because there are others. I got 7,000 more just like you. And we have to realize that whatever place God has us in, whatever place he has us in, that he has us in that place for a purpose, doing it, whatever you're meant to do, right? Whatever your purpose is, whatever your gift is, in order to begin to move, in order to begin to work in the kingdom as he has called us to, there are things that we will have to face, things that we will have to, that we'll run across, that will feel like, you know what, I can't do it no more. My dad had preached this message, and I was talking about it, how after Jesus had did a wonder, actually a miracle is what happened. And when he had cast out demons, and people were so afraid of him because they had never seen it before. So they wanted him to leave. And so he tells his disciples, get on the boat. And it says Jesus goes up to the mountain to pray. But what really blew my mind, what my dad was talking about, is the fact that, okay, where their destination they were going was 7 miles. And they were struggling so much, and they got stuck at 3.5 miles. So you're halfway there, or you're halfway, you could turn around and go halfway back. And at one point they could have said, Jesus, it didn't work. They could have went back to Jesus and said, Jesus, it didn't work. We tried, and we've been rowing, and it's only 7 miles, but in 6 hours, we only got 3 miles, in the boat, and we were struggling and stuff. But yet they stayed in the boat and stayed where God told them to go. They were in the will of God. And they continued to row, and that's when Jesus saw them, and he helped them. And I want you to remember that even in your life, when you feel like you're struggling, when you feel like it's basically how do you see your situation? Do you see it as, what, God, I know you mean it for my good, and I know once I get through this valley, that there's a plain full of abundance and milk and honey. Or, I can say, what, God, I tried, and at least I tried, and I can throw my hands up, Brother King.
Yeah. And it's in the middle of that place where she said, it's in that place where God starts to reveal you to you. Those times don't come to drown you. Those times really come to show you how strong you really are. In those moments and in those times when we're the most distressed, and we brought this up last week, Sister Queen, I want to kind of bring that up again this week. We talked about that little boy with the five fish and 2 loaves of bread. And we talked about how they didn't count the guy in the 5,000, but yet he had the solution to solve the problem. But we didn't get to, and I'm about to break bread, because as many of us that's in this place where we're weary, we're worn down, we're in the midst of a coronavirus, we're in the midst of an economic depression, we're in the midst of a place where there's political unrest, we're in the midst of a place where black men are being just gunned down in the street, been arrested for no reason. We're in that place right now in this season in life. But I got to tell you that it's in the middle of that place where your mind is the most fatigued, you're the most, it's in the midst of that place where you can hear God's voice the clearest. It's at that moment in time. Don't you remember they say with the 5 fish and the 2 loaves of bread that he set everybody down in order. And so for me, that says to me that my house needs to be in order. In times when I'm mentally distressed, in times when I don't feel up to my best, in times where I feel like I'm being defeated, I need to get my house in order. I need to sit down and put everything where it belongs mentally. What can I control? That's the question we need to talk about. What can I control? And what I don't have control over, I need to set it to the side and say, you know what, God, it's you and I. We are a team. My I am is waking. I believe that you work to do good through me, God. It's what you want to do. And I take what I can control, and I believe like I got to control it, like I got to patrol. I do what I have to do. But I believe that God's controlling it through me. And when they took what they had and put it in the hands of Jesus, they said he broke it. I am about to break bread just like he did. He took the bread and he broke it. It was in the breaking where the multiplication took place. It was in the breaking when the multiplication take place. When we get to these moments, we got to look in the mirror and self-reflect and say, self, did I really think I could get through this by myself? Self, where in this situation did I take my mind off the breaking of the bread and start focusing on that I might lose something? And see, the challenge of where we are in these moments is the thought that I'm going to lose it all, or we fear the thing that we fear has come upon us. Wow. And that thing frightens us, and it gives us paralysis. And we can't move when we know a great God lives deep down on the inside of us, but we've been stunted by our own mental capacity and ability. It's in those moments where the bread is being broken, and it's in those moments where you learn that me plus God equal the majority. That me plus God can do the impossible. That me plus God can speak to the mountain and speak, be thou removed, and that mountain is removed. See, ladies and gentlemen, we have to awaken I've been breaking bread on this for about 37 episodes right now. We have to awaken our I am. It's in those moments where you learn more about God working through you than you ever would in days of nothing but sunshine. It's the days when you feel the word. I remember when the day I was about to quit college, Lady Queen, and I'm gonna pass it right back to you. The day I was about to quit college, I went to, y'all know my story. I grew up, my dad was in and out of prison. Nobody on my dad's side ever got a high school diploma. I was the first male on my mom and dad's side to get a degree. So I was fighting generational curses. I had warring in my members. I remember the day I was about to quit college. I was a freshman. I signed a basketball scholarship at the Vanderbilt. I was the caboose when it came to GPAs in the locker room. Like, they posted all the GPAs on the locker room. I had the lowest GPA on the team that semester, my first semester. I wasn't playing a whole lot of basketball. I was coming off the bench, and I might have been playing 2 to 3 minutes. And to me, at that moment in my time, I remember, because at that time, I felt the worst I ever have about myself. I'm like, I came here to do this. I got my family riding on my back. I got my hometown riding on my back. I feel like a failure. And I sat down. I packed my whole car. I put my TV, the few clothes I had, I went and packed my car. And then in times of distress, I can't help but go to the Bible. And my mom, I just flipped it over. And my mom had put a dollar inside of my Bible. I could do all things through Christ who strengthened me. She wrote around the white of the dollar. And I'm sitting in my car, tears flowing down, and I look in that rearview mirror. And at that moment, as I'm looking in that rearview mirror, I'm looking at the tears. I see me, but it looked like there's a second man sitting right there behind me. Yeah. It looked like, man, I'm telling you, like, I know the Son of God was in the car with me. Why? Because he knew I needed support at that moment. It was in that moment, ladies and gentlemen. It was in that moment when I felt like them boys in that fiery furnace, like, it ain't me no more fighting this. I know in myself that I'm not capable, but I know that I have a God that will fight my battles for me. I'm about to break bread. Sometimes you got to get out the way and you got to give it to God. You say, man, God, I've done all I'm giving it to you, God. And I looked in that rearview mirror, tears running down my eyes. And I decided, with tears running down my eyes, to unpack that car and take everything back to my little dorm room. Why? Because the great I am lives on the inside of me. The great I am lives on the inside of me. Truth be told, Courtney, truth be told, the great I am lives on the inside of you too. It lives on the inside of you too. In those moments where you feel like that you're so distressed that I can't function, you got to say, God, in you, I live, I move, and I have my being. I don't go through this race on my own. I'm not one who runs with nothing. Because man, come on, man. I am in the King's kingdom. You have the power to loose and bind. Whatever I loose on this earth is loosed in heaven. Whatever I bind on this earth is bound. You got creativity on the inside of you. You got ingenuity on the inside of you. There's nothing on this earth that can stop you from getting to where you want to go. But you got to awaken your I am and understand that God lives to do and work through me. Lady Queen, take it.
Look, let me tell you, bro, that even realizing even in my story, let me tell you, just realizing because, my childhood was great and everything, but because I went ahead of God, and God allowed me, sometimes God will allow you something, even though it's not his plan for you, he will allow you to do whatever it is that you choose to do because he's not a rapist. He doesn't force himself on anyone. So even when I found myself where now I leave a bad toxic marriage after 9.5 years, and 2 weeks after leaving, finding out that I am 4 months pregnant. And I want you to think about that. Even I remember the drive, because I called the landlord. I was like, I'm leaving, and I had never done that before. But even the drive over to my parents' house, because I was struggling so much on the inside, not only did I feel like, Lord, I'm another statistic is what it was. I feel like I'm another statistic. I feel like I'm, I got multiple children, and how am I going to do this? I mean, I know my parents are going to help me, but I don't want to live, from my parents' house forever. And God, how am I going to do this? And just remembering the driving and crying and saying, okay, God, and it's just something inside of you, and you're trying, I'm looking at my children, but something inside of you says, you know what? You are enough. Just make it. And let me tell you, there were plenty of times where I felt like I could not make it to the next day. But then you know what God reminded me? You know what? Just take this next step. Sometimes it's almost like a next second type thing. I just gotta live for this next second. Then when the next second comes, okay, you know what? I can face this next second, because let me tell you, it was a struggle. It was a struggle mentally to get out of a place. Let me tell you, if you've been working this carnal mind for umpteen years of saying, you know what? Well, maybe what he's been telling me is true. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe, I'm not worthy enough. Maybe nobody else will want me because I have multiple kids, or, maybe, because of the fact is the economy and everything, and already you're barely making it, maybe it's just good enough to stay in your parents' home, and all these thoughts go through your mind. All these thoughts go, but thank God, he put me in a place where I begin to talk to myself. Sometimes you got to get in the mirror and say, you know what, self, stop telling yourself that, because what they said means nothing. What they said that you couldn't do means nothing. But it's because even people can say, all the time, you know what, you can do this. But until you believe in yourself, until you say, you know what, I am worthy because God says I'm worthy. I am good enough because God tells me that I am. He calls me beautifully and wonderfully made in his image. And if I'm made in his image and he created all of this and said it was good, everything I create is now good. Everything I'm going to put my hands to is now good. And so I don't have to worry about what naysayers may say. I don't have to worry about what they thought about me. I don't even have to worry about even in the process of what everyone else thinks about me. Because guess what? My Father made me to dominate. He says on this earth, he says, let them have dominion. It means he put me on this earth to rule over some things, and that's, and I'm not talking about over people, but I'm talking about things in your life, whether you want to take control of your career or your business, or even just, being a better version of yourself, whatever it is, God has given you the authority to do so. And you have to look at the mirror and look at yourself and say, you know what, self, I'm not going to settle anymore for average. Because we're not average. We're not meant to be average. Not kingdom people. Kingdom people are not meant to be average. So you have to realize, you know what? I don't have to settle for what my mind, for what everyone else has told me and my mind used to tell me. But now I'm going to exercise my spiritual mind, because the mind that's in Christ is also in me. So God tells me, you know what? You're powerful. You know what? You have all power to do this. You have all authority. You have access to what I told you you have access to, and that's kingdom access. So the peace of mind that I need that passes all understanding, he says, I have it in him. The joy that I need, that even though my situation looks messed up, I have it in him. So that's what he's telling us. We don't have to worry what everyone else says. Believe in yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror. Brother King, I'll pass it to you because I get a little excited, bro.
Man, I'm about to run around this room myself. Man, like you said something about encouraging yourself. You said something. Sometimes when nobody else will want to give you accolades, when nobody else, you don't have to depend on anybody else. You and yourself are enough. You need to, like Sister Queen said, you need to sit there and awaken your I am, ladies and gentlemen. We can never outperform what we believe about ourselves. By us awakening our I am, about us encouraging ourselves, and by us meditating. And I like to talk about that inner talk. As we begin to build our inner talk where it edifies us, it builds us up, it lends to my happiness. Boy, I'm about to break bread. It gives me, man, let me tell you something about your talk. Let me tell you something about your talk. Your talk is so important that in my favorite book, it says, let the weak say what? I am strong. Your talk means so much to your life. And if some of us could just change our inner conversation with ourselves, we could radically transform our life. There is no lack of resources in your life. Let me break bread. There is no lack of love in your life right now. You lack no good thing. You can accomplish anything that you chose to set out to, but you got to embrace the process. You got to change how you talk to yourself. You got to change what you believe about yourself. You got to change. And this is where we have the dilemma. I believe God can do it. I want to start a daycare, or I want to start this business. I got an idea, and I want to get my idea out on paper, and I want to seek and sell my idea. No, we got all these different things that we want on the inside of us. But the question is, I know God can do it, but can God do it through me? That's what we struggle with, if truth be told, Lady Queen. Yes. I see my sister popping on, Antoinette. You know we're gonna break bread tonight. That's true. I know. Happy birthday to the hubby. Y'all enjoy yourself. But that's the challenge. I know God can do it, but can he do it through me? But here's the reality of it is. The reality of it is, if he doesn't do it through you, it will not be done. That's the reality. Like, you are the apple of God's eye. You are God fearfully, and he wonderfully made you, and he presented you to himself, boy, like a bride to a husband for a time such as this. Don't you dare miss your moment. I'm about to break bread. Don't you dare make a permanent decision or based on a temporary situation. Right now, what you're going through is temporal. And we look at what we're going through physically, and we make decisions like, oh man, I got $10 in the bank. Let me go rob a bank, or I got $10 in my pocket. Let me go rob a bank. Or we make these decisions. Let me cheat on my taxes. Or we make these decisions. Let me go do. And we compromise our ethics and character of who we are, all because we're looking at this situation for what it is today and not for what it will be tomorrow. I'm about to break bread. As long as we continue to make decisions based on what we see, your life will be average. But until you begin to step in, I'm going to give y'all a new word. Until you begin to step into your Godhood, until you begin to step into your I am, until you begin to step in, I'm just a little Lord and Elohim, until you begin to step into your creative power and you speak to the winds and the waters and you create what you want. I'm not waiting on Trump to give me $200 more extra. I'm not waiting on them to change how much they're giving to the stimulus package. Man, my stimulus package lives on the inside of me. You think first seek ye the kingdom? You think the kingdom is affected by the coronavirus? You think the kingdom is corrupted by the America's GDP? You think the kingdom is dependent upon what's going on in this world? Ladies and gentlemen, let me break bread. You have the ability to change. If you don't like the circumstances around you, then doggone it, stand up in the midst of the storm and you do like LeBron James and say, peace be still. And peace better subside. Why? Because the great I am lives on the inside of me. We got to start living in our Godhood, Sister Queen.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of times because we we go based on what our physical eyes see versus what God has told us or our spiritual eyes see. Because, what I realize is a lot of times because we see the temporary situation, we feel like we have to do something. I got to do something about it. Well, God has given me the power, to do it, and I have to do something. And that's why when you were talking about that, things we cannot change, it definitely takes work to learn on the things you cannot change, allowing God to do whatever he does through you and not trying to stick your hand in things that he says, look, I have put this in my hands. He says for us to cast our cares on him because he cares for us. So there are things that God says, look, I got this. And the reason why he does it this way, because I want to show you that I am God, and I think a lot of times when we learn how to say, you know what, it's not what my physical eyes see. And I'm not going to make a decision based on temporary things right now. Yeah, this might be the situation right now, but see that's where we mess up at, because we can't see the future, right? We can't see, a second in front of us as far as the future goes, but realizing that God sees the bigger picture. And that's why it's important to see things through Jesus Christ, because God sees the bigger picture. He knows exactly what he's doing. And so that's why you shouldn't even worry about what people say, because understand, the people that know you, they know what you do right now, or they know what you did in the past. They can't see the greatness that is coming from you. They can't see what's going to come from you. They can't see. And that's why, even that scripture that says a man is without honor in his own home, it's because people become common with you and they're okay with you being average because they do the average thing. And this is how we live. This is how it is, so they become common with you, and common's okay, but don't try to become extraordinary, because then you think you're too good, so a lot of times that's why I believe Jesus even said that scripture, a man is without honor in his own home, because they can't see the greatness that's in you, so it's not even, so we can't even take things personal when people don't see our greatness. We can't even take things personal whenever you're like, man, I'm trying to better myself. Why don't you support me? I'm trying to become better. I'm trying to, learn how to do this. I'm trying to change the way that I think, and I'm trying to do all these things. And I'm even trying to learn how to forgive. Let me tell you something. The forgiveness is for you. It's not for that other person anyway. But learning the fact that, you know what, they can't see they can't see the future. They can't see what you're going to become. So you can't take it personal whenever they come or even say, you know what, you tried, that's good enough, and that, that's it. Don't take it personal. And I think a lot of times we learn how to get our emotions in check and say, you know what, emotions, I'm not going to base you anymore, because I want you to think about thoughts turn into feelings, right? We start to think something and then we get these feelings and stuff. But so if we learn how to get our thought in check, we can basically get our emotions in check. And once you get those two in check and they become one and they marry, and that's when you begin to, I guess, in this life that you've always dreamed of, peace that passes all understanding, joy in the time of, when everyone else would say, you know what, there should be sorrow, or the weak calling you strong, or the poor calling you rich, those type things. Because the fact is, you know what, the way I live is not based on this economy right here. I'm keeping economy. My father is rich. He owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. My father's rich. So I'm not based on what the economy says right here, but I'm kingdom economy. That's completely different. Because let me tell you, the word economic, I believe it's like a transfer of wealth. Understand, the kingdom, God, he holds everything. He created this world. He holds everything in his hand. And if he says, I'm about to break bread now. Look,
come on, break bread.
That I'm an heir to the throne, that means that everything that he has access to is mine. So kingdom economics refer to me. This economy right here of lack, and this economy of, how you gonna make it, and how you gonna get your next meal, and worry about if the lights or the internet turn off. And I don't have to worry about that. Now sometimes I have to, you have to shake it off. You have to shake it off, because the enemy gonna be like, you said this would happen, and look at this. And then you know what you do? You look back up and say, you know what? You just this is just a setup for my God to show out in my life, because I'm not based on this economy, but it's about kingdom economics. And so I'm a pass it, because I'm spilling off into my other stuff, but I'm a pass the mic. I'm a pass.
You killing it. Come on, somebody say, come on, Lady Queen. Hey, Laura said, take a stand on your faith. Hey, y'all, talk back to us. This is a conversation. We want to pull y'all into this conversation. Let's have a conversation because, like, we're here and we're being open and honest about what we go through because we want to share this with you all, but we want you all to interact with this conversation because I got to tell you, in life, you're going to have some struggles. Les Brown said you're either going in a storm, or you're coming out of a storm. In life, you're going to go through some things. There's no other way around it, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to go, but be of good cheer. We have already overcome this world, but it's up to us to take our authority. Don't you know that God has given you, the earth has he given the children of man? Don't you know that you are the authority figure on this earth? God gave this earth for us to rule and reign. He gave it to us. He gave, man, boy, and here come a bread breaking moment. Man, whatever God created you from is where your dominion is. He created the fish with the water. So the fish have dominion in the water. Wherever he created the birds in the sky. So the birds have dominion of the sky. When he got ready to create a man, come on, I'm coming. When he got ready to create a man, his greatest creation, he went down and started playing in the dirt like kids playing with the clay. And then he gave, and see what you, here come my chill bumps. What you came from speaks to your authority. They said he reached down and he formed us with dirt of the earth, but then he blew in us the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Don't you know right there, earth is your domain, and your breath came from the God kind. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. That's why he tell us to exercise our authority. He tell us to exercise. All Jesus did was show us how we're supposed to live with the legal body on this earth. Because from the beginning, we're created, Lord just said it, we're created in his image and likeness. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were created in his image and likeness, God looked out at nothing and said, man, let there be light. And the next, there was light. He said, let's separate the firmament. And what? The firmaments, he spoke to it. He said, speak to the mountains, and you do not doubt it. He said, speak to it. So my question to you is, walk in your divinity. What should you be speaking in your life? And understand that seed time harvest is a process. Mm-hmm. Seed time harvest is a process. It's not something that we speak today and we see the fruition of it tomorrow. No, baby, you got to water that ground. You got to fertilize that ground. That ground ain't gonna produce unless you make love to it. Unless you find that ground worthy of your time, unless you find that ground worthy of your affection, unless you find that ground worthy of your resources, that ground will not produce. If the ground knows whether you're committed to the process, how much more does God know if we're committed to the process? Got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, this is not some genie in a bottle type thing. God is a sure deal. Let me change that. God working through you is a sure deal. This is not a genie in the bottle. I don't have to man, that's why, man, I'm telling y'all, I'm so through with religion. With me, it's about relationship. Definitely. Religion seeks to control me and mine through doctrines and principles, whereas God said he's looking to get things to his kingdom children. He said he's trying to get things to you. Most people look and they think God is trying to keep things away from them. There's no good thing that God wants to withhold from his children. But there's a way that we have to enter the kingdom in order to see the fruition of what God has promised us. And so many of us, I'm about to break bread. So many of us, we go in with grandma's faith, or we go in with auntie's faith, or we go in with what my daddy said. If you take one step, he'll take two. Where that at? God only responds to his word in faith. You got to mix faith and you got to mix the word in order to get cataclysmic manifestation in your life. I'm telling you right now, you're one mindset shift from changing your life. The thing I love about a man, because we have dominion over this earth, fish can only rule in the sea, and fish can only be fish. A dog can only be a dog. A cat can only be a cat. But man has the ability to transform his mind into whatever he or she wants to become. I decided that I wanted to stop being a school teacher. I wanted to become a stockbroker. And how did you leave being a special ed teacher, being a stockbroker? I decided to do it, and I retained the information to get the credentials to say, now you are a stockbroker. Why? Because I got creative ability on the inside of me. If I chose today and say, Aunt, instead, I want you to be a lawyer, I can go get the credentialing to become a lawyer and probably be one of the top lawyers in Georgia. Why? Because my IAM works through me. You have the ability to create out of your life whatever you so choose. I just gave you power right now. If I'm you, I take my lipstick. If I'm you, brother, I start cutting affirmations in my hair with my clippers. Every time I look in the mirror, I am somebody. I am a strong husband. I am the head and not the tail. I am strong and very courageous. Everywhere my feet should take, I am more than a conqueror. You got to wake your AMs up. As you begin to wake your AM up, your PM will automatically come up. Man, I'm telling you right now, man, come on, man. The book says it, that you have to devour in the morning and divide your spoils in the evening. If you learn how to work your AM, if you learn how to work yourself in the morning before your day starts, in the afternoon, you'll find yourself, man, my day just went so much better today. All I said was, I'm going to have a great day. All I said was that I'm wonderfully and fearfully made. And somehow I had the same problem I had 3 days ago. But because I woke my I am up, I didn't go through it the same way. I saw it differently. Don't you know, ma'am? I'm passing it. Go, you take it, boy, because I was about to go into a whole nother thing. You take it.
Look, that's some good stuff. That, you know, I think if we just go back and just start to remember again, you know, just like that prodigal son, you know, whenever back in the day in kingdoms and stuff, whenever you had a king and his children, they all had rings in order to show what kingdom you come from, right? So if you were a prince or princess and you went to another kingdom, they saw the ring on your finger, they knew that you came from this kingdom, right? And so I believe even with that though, realizing that, okay, even if I went to this other kingdom and I wanted to purchase something or I wanted to work in something, it was more like credit. Like I can use the fact that I was from this kingdom, use my ring to get access to whatever it is I needed, no matter where I was. You know, we understand we're all from, you know, God. God created all of us, and understanding that just like with that prodigal son, whenever the father was standing right there with his arms waiting for his son, it says he gave his son a robe and a ring, you know, and that just to remind you, look, you have access to everything that I have access to. You don't have to come back as a servant. You don't have to come back as one of the higher paid servants, you know, because you realize they have it better. The fact that you are an heir to the throne gives you the access. And a lot of times we forget about the ring on our finger. So we take, okay, well, I could be like the hired servants. Okay, you know, that's okay with me. And it just, I think I got to a point, and hopefully, you know, other people have said, where you get to a point where you're like, you know what, that's not good enough no more. Like my mindset of thinking, oh, just the hired servant is okay. You know, just like that prodigal son saying, you know what, maybe if I go back to my father and say, you know, just allow me to be like one of your hired servant. You know, I don't deserve it, but allow me to be. And God is standing right there saying, remember who you are. Like, you're my child. You know, remember who you are. And then we realize who we are, and with that we have the robe, and that he clothes us. So no matter what sin we've committed, no matter what we've done, no matter what we've gone through, God has covered Jesus has covered all of that when he did that at the cross. So he covers us. Then he gives us a ring to remind us, look, you have access to kingdom things. You have access to kingdom economics. You know, you have access to those things. So realize where you're from, who you are. Just realize that who you are. Just realize that.
Come to yourself. Come to yourself.
I've been in the pig pen. Have y'all been? Look, I've been in the pig pen, even in my own mind, not just in my own mess, even in my own mind. Man, I'm serious.
You gotta come to yourself, ladies and gentlemen. That's greatness. But I want let me leave you with something real quick. Let me drop a nugget on you. You have to embrace the process. And the process, the definition for process is a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. You have to embrace the process. There are 3 characteristics to a process. A process is a series. That means that it's not an event. Stop judging yourself based on today. It's
Yeah.
not, the process is not a one-time event. It's ongoing. It's more than just today. It's today, tomorrow, yesterday, and the day after. So don't judge yourself. It's a course of actions. Don't judge yourself based on where you are right now. Because baby, right now you in the middle of the process, or you on the front end of the process. Don't worry that your ladder shall be your ladder shall be greater than your earlier. Don't worry about. Don't cry about where. Don't let me say this. Let me say this. Don't judge yourself. Better word right there. Don't critique. Don't judge yourself based on where you are today. Right now, you're in the middle of a process. It's not an event. It's ongoing. Number two, it's steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. So that means if there's actions, there's steps, that there have to be intentionality. In this
Whoa.
process, there have to be intentionality. Like, are you working on yourself purposely? Are you, when you wake up in the morning, is there a plan? Are you living life, or is life living you? Do you have control of your life? Or are you responding to life? Are you being tossed to and fro by life storms and I got a friend like that. Everything in his life is a one cat 4 hurricane to another cat 4 hurricane. We have to start being more intentional about our life, and we have to start living life on purpose. Why wait? Why wait to start that business? Why wait if you got a daycare? Just start small right now. Start right now. Do so. Go start. Go to a daycare and visit it. I don't know. Maybe you cook cookies. Cook 5 cookies and give them away and see if they're worth coming back to, so you can learn to perfect your restaurants. Man, start now. You have to be intentional about your time and about your resources. You know, it's amazing that we talk about our life and we talk about how important our life is. Over 80% of the people, 80% of people in America are going through life like on a hamster wheel. We're trading our time for money, and we're trading our money for things. What a life wasted when God has put greatness on the inside of you. You should not be living your life for things. You should not be living your life just trying to rob Peter to pay Paul. Your life is more than dollars and cents. You got purpose. You got genius on the inside of you. That's a vision that God birthed. When that doctor slapped you on the behind, God activated you into the purpose of which he called you. It's time for us to start seeking out God's intentionality for our life. It's time for us to start seeking out, my gift will make room for me. What is my gift? I'm a motivational teacher. I'm just trying to get money. Where's my gift? And number 3, that word process means there's a desired outcome. There is a desired outcome. There is a desired outcome. There is a desired outcome for your life. There is something you're supposed to be doing before the foundation of the earth. There's something that when you die, somebody should say, man, they died today, but what they left will outlive their children's children. Boy, I'm about to break bread. You were never just meant here. And when you get in that coffin, it's for everything that you've done that you be taking with you. There's something that on the inside of you that was meant to outlive you. There's a process to maturing that gift, and you have to embrace that process. And that word embrace is an action verb. It means that you're going to have to go through the good times. You're going to have to go through the bad times. You got to go over the hill. You got to go down in the valley. You got to meet with triumph. You got to meet with disaster. And you have to treat those 2 imposters just the same. You got to meet with disaster and look at and stare eyeball to eyeball and say, this is not my reality. And you got to look at triumph and say, God still has more for me at the end of the day. And you have, and only you can. I talked about it the other day. Many are called, but few are chosen. Many are called, but few are chosen. Motivational teacher to the master. How do I know if I'm chosen? It's all about how you answer that call. Nobody determines the chosen ones other than the people when you hear that call. And so, well, you know, I've been searching. If you knock, the door shall be open. If you seek, you shall find. I dare you to take 2 weeks out of your life and work on your AM. Work on your AM in the AM. Work on your I am in the AM in the morning, and you'll start seeing your life radically change, ladies and gentlemen. God hid the thing. He hid it in the one place. He knew where you could find it, on the inside of you. You don't need grandma to find it. You don't need daddy to find it. You don't need mama to find it. I don't need my ex-husband to find it. I don't need my ex-wife to find it. I don't need my cousin them to find it. I only need connection. I only need my vertical with my Father in order to connect my gifting to this earth. Don't you know your life was meant to be? You better say it. I am chosen. It's all about how you answer the call. Your life was meant to be a conduit system from heaven to earth. I just broke bread. I just broke bread. Your life was meant to be a conduit system so God can fill the earth with his heavenly blessings to people whom he chooses to bless through you. You are a conduit system. The moment you understand that I'm a conduit system is the moment you release yourself from all the doubt, all the frustrations, all the fears. It's God's goodwill to work through me to fulfill his plan on this earth. If not you, then who? Jesus sitting on the right hand of he done. He is done. He passed the torch to me, and I'm going to pick up and kill it and kill it and kill it.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Look, I think that's our sister Queen Tina. She's responded, the one that says Facebook user. For some reason, it's not allowing her comments to come through. But we see you, Queen.
Hey, Tina.
And we appreciate every single person that's coming on. Listen, if you have not yet, we're trying to build up our group page so that we can go live from there. Because I see we kind of spread out all over the place. We have like 10 on one site, 3 or 4 on another, 5 on another, and they're kind of spread out. So if we did not see your comment or respond, please, count it to our head and not our heart, because we appreciate every single one of you. We want to make sure, though, go on Facebook and look up the Facebook group, Bridging the Nations, and accept or like the Facebook group so that you could be a part of that. So when we start going live in there, you definitely get the notification and that we can all be together, because it does help, especially when we see in your comments and, everyone's commenting, and, it helps not only encourage us, but also you, whenever you see other people that have been through the same thing you have. They might have been through it and you're going through it right now, or they might have, been, like, on their way out of it and you just got in it, things like that. So please go and like our Facebook group, which is Bridging the Nations. Also my YouTube channel, which is www.shamikawillis.com. And please subscribe. Brother King, what's your YouTube channel?
Please find me at Williams Inspires on YouTube. That's Inspire, INSPIRES. YouTube, Williams Inspires Facebook, and at Wage and War 32 on Twitter. You can find me there.
Definitely, because we do appreciate you guys. Make sure, another thing, before Brother King DJ come back up, make sure you share this broadcast, share this with someone, especially, someone that you believe or that you've seen might even be struggling with if they're good enough, if they're worthy enough, and they have a difficult time believing in themselves. Because believe it or not, even though sometimes strong people don't say, look, I'm struggling with just believing in myself, everyone goes through it. Everyone has had that feeling before, and sometimes they have it in secret. It's the secret pain that they have this feeling. So everyone's felt this before. So share this message. Let's get this out there, because it's very important to help encourage each other, because we are our brother's keeper. So Brother King, hit it off.
And let me chime in there for 1 second, man. And I feel like, that I feel like I need to hit that conduit one more time.
Yeah.
That we are, when we become kingdom children, when we first you see the kingdom, and God is the king, and we're in his kingdom, and it's the king's domain, it's his will to want to bless his children. Like our lives are meant to be a conduit system. Like God works through me to do the will that he chooses in this earth. That's why when I say in him I live, I move, and I have my being, that's because he's working in and through me to do the will of which. That's why you'll never see me begging bread. You'll never see me frustrated about this world system and what's going on. Matter of fact, I work for, my secular job. I'm a trainer, manager for a Fortune 100 company, and they announced they're gonna lay off a big number of the company. Ask me have I shed one tear? Ask me have I lost 1 minute of sleep? Ask me has it occupied any of my mind? It doesn't. Why? Because God is my source, and God is your source. God is your source. Don't let this world distort you and believe that this world was ever meant to deliver something to you. God is your only source, and anything around you that he chooses to use to bless you is the resource. Don't let that paycheck fool you. You are gifted from heaven. That's why I ain't worried. You can't fire me because I ain't been hired. I've been using you to sharpen my gift so that when I go away in power and in excellence. I just broke bread. Like, even if you work in a job, you got to have the right relationship with that job. I ain't working no job because it's my job. I work my job because it's my calling. I was meant to motivate, inspire, train, develop, and coach. I ain't working no job. I'm developing me, and my company get the benefit from me building my gifting to do what God called me to do. So you can't fire me. You can't lay me off. Why? God is my source, and I'm a conduit system. He chose you to be my resource for this season. He'll make me a new one in the next season. I just broke bread. Some of y'all need to hear that because we've been leaning to our own understanding too much and believing that I got to make this thing happen. And I believe we get moments like this. I like to call it the trying of your faith. It's the trying of your faith. It's the trying of your faith. And you better believe if God is trying you in your faith, I deal with every chill bump in me. If God is trying you in your faith, the next level is on the other side of that trying. Right now, if you're in the middle of a storm, your next level is on the other side of that trying, man. Hey, look, dry your eyes. No more weeping. It's morning time. Joy comes in the morning. It's morning time. I've never seen his seed begging bread. If he clothed the lilies in the valley, what will he do for his own children? Don't you know you got a benefit package? Some of y'all need to go back to my YouTube page. I talked about the benefits of the chosen. You got a benefit package. And once we start understanding that my life is not my own, that I'm being used as a conduit system from heaven, man, there's no greater call on earth than to know that you've been used as I connect, Queen, Lady Queen, we connect heaven to earth. You want to know how God's will is going to be done? We got to do it.
What's loose to order? Come on.
We connecting whatever I loose in heaven is loosed on earth. Right now, I speak peace into every one of your lives. I'm a conduit system. If I speak peace in your life, guess what gotta happen? Peace gotta happen. If I speak love, I speak joy. Man, it gotta happen. So I'm challenging you right now to come into the knowledge of who or understanding, which is knowledge applied, of who your source is. Don't let this world, and I call it chatter, Lady Queen, and don't let this chatter take you off of what you were meant to be and what you were meant to do. No matter what it looks like, I am the motivational teacher to the masses. I don't care if it's 4 eyes or 44,000 eyes looking at me. It doesn't change who I am. Why? I'm a conduit system. I'm a conduit system. And you're the same way. Whether you got that restaurant on the inside, don't you judge yourself because, well, I just don't know if I can do it right now. I can't even buy. Go fry you up a piece of fish and put some light bread on there, some hot sauce, some mustard, and some Ore-Ida fries. Sell that plate for $2 and see if they'll come running back. We got to start exercising what we have. We got a benefits package. We got to start exercising what we have, ladies and gentlemen. You're here for a specific reason. And you better allow God to use you to do the good through which I'm telling you, the best you'll ever feel in your life is when you know the great I am. Man, I drove by a food bank. Cars were lined up so far back. And man, me and my wife, we said, man, we're going to sow a seed. We stopped and we wrote a pretty sizable 4-digit check. Why? Because I'm a conduit system. There was somebody that I met one time. They reached out to me on Facebook just out the blue. And they said, man, like, I ain't met them not one time. I said, man, my family, this, that, we ain't got this. Man, can you help? Man, what you need? I'm a conduit. I don't do that all the time, but I know when God is looking to be a conduit. I had this young kid call me that used to play on my basketball team, doesn't play on my basketball team anymore. He reached out to me because he had my number on the phone. He was telling me about what he was going through at home. I'm a conduit. There's no greater joy in this world than to know that God is working to do the good through the inside of you, ladies and gentlemen. We have to awaken our I am, Lady Queen.
And then look, Laura, let me tell you, exercise is something that you do daily, something even that Brother King is talking about. This is something that we do daily. And I believe even Bishop said that God is our source and not our resource, because understand it's not something that we just pull off the shelf whenever we get in tight situations. It's, you know, the fact that we realize that God has given us this, and he's given you the access too. You just have to realize and exercise that daily. And the more and more you exercise this muscle, as far as knowing who God says you are and knowing you have the power and the authority, that's the more it comes first. That mindset will come first before the corner mindset. The more and more you exercise that. So it is a process, as Brother King said, it is a process. And, you know, and it's just not an event that, well, it's just, you know, you just don't focus on the event of one thing happening, but the fact that we go through this process, and the more and more you continue to exercise that, the stronger and stronger that kingdom mindset will become. The mind that's in Christ, that's in you will now become. But we thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We thank you so much. Make sure that you go to the Bridging the Nations Facebook channel, Facebook group. And make sure you like that Facebook group. That way, when we start going live in there, to make sure we're live in there now, but just to make sure when we start posting in there, you are a part of the Bridging the Nations Facebook group. But we thank each and every one of you guys for joining, all that are in. You know, if there's something that you want us to talk about that maybe you might be struggling with, even if you want to inbox one of us, you know, on Facebook, whatever it is, if you want to, for us to talk about it, that way you can say, you know what, I just want to know, like, how do I deal with this? Maybe you're a new believer and you're like, okay, I need help with this. Inbox us, let us know what you want us to talk about. Even if you're seasoned, look, I'm a seasoned saint, as they say, or a seasoned believer. But the fact is, there's things that I struggle with that I have to correct my mind on and say, you know what, you are a kingdom child. So it's about exercising your right as a kingdom child and a kingdom believer. So, you know, if there's something you want us to talk about, please inbox one of us. If you don't want to put it on the chat, inbox one of us and let us know, because we'll be more than happy to talk about that on our next broadcast when we come back next Thursday. Remember, every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Brother King, is there anything else you need to say?
Hey, y'all have been amazing out there. Thank y'all so much. Y'all know we can't leave y'all without a party. Hey, you are more than enough. You are more than a conqueror. You are awesome. This world is lucky to have you. So you got to tell God, give me that. I got some joy that I can't explain. I got the extra peace that'll ease my pain. I'm Kirk Franklin right now. Somebody say, give me that. Give me that. Yeah. I need some things you got to walk away from. God is my source. God is my source. Give me that. Give me that. Hey, somebody got to rock with me on that one. Yeah. I can't get away. I can't sing, but I can do this. Yeah. You took away everything. And that, come on.
Just know that you are worth it. You are enough. And God has a plan for you. He has a plan for you. So even when you don't understand, he has a plan for you. But remember, next Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come back with Bridging the Nations. I think our tribe will be back. Our 3 will be complete again, you know, with Jesus, you know. So we appreciate each and every one of you joining in. Remember, share this video. Don't leave this broadcast without sharing this video and pressing the heart button. We do appreciate you guys. We love you guys, and we'll see you on next Thursday.
Thank you all. Y'all were amazing. Thank you so much. Bridging the Nation.